And finally, we're going to take a look at some of the code behind the scenes to make the page work. Take a look at the login, which is pretty straightforward. You have a checkbox that we saw on the login page, the admin access, and if that box is checked, then we're going to this query to select from the admin the user ID password to validate. If that user ID is found, then you'll be taken to the add profile page, which we'll look at in a minute. Otherwise, you get the error message we saw earlier. Conversely, if it is not an admin login, we see the select is done from the employees table using the username and password there. Again, if you find an employee, it goes to the edit profile, at which point it will load their employee profile into that edit page. Otherwise, you'll get an error message, which we saw before. Looking at the add profile, it's pretty straightforward as well. Information is entered into the form, and then once it's entered in here, we do a series of validation steps that we looked at to verify that everything is good. And if it's there and it's okay, we run a script to insert the new profile. And that also is very straightforward. It's a series of insert statements that insert data into all of the tables that we need to that we've entered onto the form. If you log into the edit profile, you're brought up to this page, which also does a similar validation. Another area of opportunity here is to pull this validation out of abstracted out of both of these add and edit profiles and put it into its own page and use it for both, make it a little more generic. That would be the proper way to do this, given more time to go back and do that. As you log in, as you come to this page, if you have not logged in other words, your session ID, employee ID is not passed in, you will be taken to the login page to log in before you can edit a profile. If you have logged in, then we go to the get employee to get the information, and that's this page here. It simply selects the data for the employee, which is then placed onto the page. If you go through the validation, once you submit the form and all the validation passes, you'll run the update profile script, and this is similar to the insert profile, except it's doing updates instead of inserts. So you see all of these are updated. The only inserts done here are in the skills section, where you may either insert or delete a skill depending if one is added or not. And let's see. And then finally we have the search page, where you can enter in a text and it will attempt to find an employee. The HTML is pretty basic. You have the get hint, which searches the database for names that are like names, phone numbers, emails that are like the information that's been entered into the search box, and if it finds it, it returns it, and with the help of a little bit of JavaScript, and it will then display that information in the list we saw, where you can select the name that you want to. And that pretty much covers the highlights of the code and concludes our demonstration. Thank you.